Hello, Reckoning7 and welcome back to Commission Battle for Normandy. We are once again with the 902 Panzer Grenadiers and the 130 Panzer Regiment attempting to cross the tributary or a tributary of the River Vier as part of an overall counterattack against the Allies. In the last episode, we concentrated on suppressing and damaging the enemy infantry that were immediately opposing the crossings, and just at the tail end, we started to make a few tentative steps across the river. Not so much in the centre, we held back there, but certainly on the east and on the west flanks. We're just about across here, and we're safely across on that right-hand flank. This turn is going to be fairly, or this episode is going to be fairly crunch, because we're going to try and establish a significant foothold on both the east and west side of the map. So as we kick things off, we're going to be dropping smoke to help block ourselves off. We know there's American infantry, which is relatively healthy along this section, and we're not going to have time to kind of just sit and degrade it through these trees. So we're going to try and block them off, get a bunch of infantry up here, and then we'll continue to pick away at them. Potentially maybe even flank them. One of the reasons that's driving us to act quickly is we've seen, or we can hear, American armour trundling towards us, so we want to make sure we've established a foothold before they get into position. Now we can only push infantry across here, so we are probably going to have to rely on some anti-tank teams and a little bit of ambushing to really defend this sector. And then if the tanks kind of move more central or onto the eastern flank, then we do have our Panzer IVs to intervene. So as things stand, we're going to push some infantry across this side. I'm going to lay down smoke and just supporting fire this turn. I'm not expecting anything to happen in the first minute, so what we'll do is I'll do that one off camera. If something interesting happens, obviously I'll talk about it, and then bring you back when the smoke's down, and we're going to try and make a crossing, just so we can see how well or how badly that goes. The other thing to look out for is our artillery bombardment of some known AT positions. I think we've confirmed 3 guns, 57mm there, as a minimum, and so we're dropping some 105mm rounds on it. Been fairly ineffectual thus far, but hopefully we'll see a few better hits. But yeah, all going well. I'll put a shortcut in, we'll come back just as we're about to make a surge across the river. Okay, we are 2 minutes further on, and we've had a bit of a snag in the plan. So this is actually the first time I've used these mortar carrier half-tracks, and for whatever reason, they don't seem to be able to launch smoke grenades while mounted up. I've kind of, obviously they had it originally, nothing happened. I gave them a new order for the last minute, nothing's happened. And I have obviously used them offensively, happily embedded in the trucks. But for some reason this isn't working, so I'm going to have to get these guys out to drop these smokes, which is going to add a few more minutes to our timeline. We haven't heard any more of the American armour, so hopefully we have enough time to get the job done. And I suppose if nothing else, it gives us a few more minutes just to suppress the various American forces. Nothing to write home about on the right, steadily pushing across with the infantry teams, splitting them in 2 squads, just to be cautious just in case someone spots them and fires some lead at them, but so far no issues. The barrage has looked pretty good actually, certainly for this guy. As you can see there, it's taken a few good hits. There've been a few close hits here, not so much in this outlier, but reasonable, so I can hope it'll knock a few guns out. And I think I discussed it much earlier on, but I was trying to push some panzers across. So I've got this chap here, as well as this guy's going to come and fill in on this position. Slight, maybe error, maybe just unlucky. So the commander, the reason it's in this position, had his head out the hatch as we were driving up this road, and just copped some BAR fire from these guys through the trees, and it took his head off. So I could have obviously easily told him to just stick inside, which is an error on my part, but at the same time that was a bit unlucky. But there we go. So yeah, it's going to be a few more minutes till I get those smokes set up, and then hopefully in the next couple of minutes we'll get across this river. And I will catch you all then. Just want to jump back quickly in here, so just in the next minute. Just because our eagle-eyed infantry made a spot on the American armour. So, as expected, they're Shermans. And he's just sitting in a held down position back here, which I'm actually okay with if he sat himself there defensively. I kind of know where it is, I can work with it. Buys me a bit more time to cross the river. I will have to be a bit more careful with our half-tracks kind of bombing around on this hill here, because he does have occasional sightlines to that, especially my mortar carriers, which are a bit more exposed, so I have to tuck them away somewhere out of sight. We shall see. And but yeah, we do lose sight of him later in a minute, but we don't see him moving before we do. He just kind of goes. But thankfully, we get to the very end of a minute. Our Panzer's made over here without issues, so we can at least tuck him in somewhere, so we can at least kind of fight off the Americans if they do get quite aggressive with tanks. Given it's a defensive scenario, I wouldn't be surprised if they parked up and held. Although this is the objective, so who knows. Okay, that was all. Again, I'll give us a shout when we're ready to cross the river. Only slight changes we've got a squad here, slightly wounded. I'm sneaking them across the same way I brought these scouts, because they've had not a single shot fired at them, and that would be a nice supporting fire base for pushing the kind of company strength charge across when we've got that smoke. So that's going to be the plan. In a couple of minutes we'll come back then. Oh, one last thing is this guy who had been him and his mate there, who's now dead, the bane of my existence. Like insane amounts of HMG fire and MG42 fire and some rounds from a 75mm infantry support gun. They just didn't care. You'd go suppressor a bit, pop up. They've inflicted like a chunk of casualties on this unit just with his M1 Garand, and I don't think he's even got a sight. No, he's just an Uber soldier. But he's finally had enough and is running away, so I'm very, very pleased that's happened, and I'll unlock that little position. But I like the little stories you get when you play these kind of missions. You know, when individual picks and trooping become relevant. Okay, granted, I'd rather it was on my side, but still, fun nonetheless. Okay, I'll catch you back shortly. Alright, the moment of truth is somewhat upon us. So the smoke barrage, it's not looking like the most effective one I've ever seen. We have got all the smokes in the air from the A team here, or second squad I should say. First squad's got one left to launch, so these should start peppering down, as there's only 3 landed thus far. I'm going to supplement it this turn with the 4 rounds we've got from our Stummel, just to help trying to complete that, and just firing with everything I can to try and suppress these guys. Yeah, and then we're pushing off. This is a lot more aggressive than I'm really quite comfortable with. You know, it's quite a long way. I've got a lot of guys using quick. Obviously, once you hit that go button, you're locked in for a minute. This could result in a large quantity of dead pixel trooping if I'm not careful. Only other thing to mention is, well, 2 things. I suppose this Sherman 4, he has headed over the crest of the hill, so we'll have to see if he keeps trucking along. Our scout here doing some good spotting work, and they've also spotted another group of Shermans who are kind of setting up on this hill, although he looks like he might be navigating to this field, so we'll keep an eye, see where they end up. Meanwhile, we're just continuing to move over, spread out, get a position. I'd love to get some better eyes on this, but that is potentially a long way away. But I don't like the idea of finding out my artillery's effectiveness just by driving some vehicles around. Speaking of which, we are bringing this Panzer up to watch the main road. And we've got this guy just set up in this corner. He's got eyes. It's not the greatest position. When we come down and have a quick look, he's just adjusting at the minute, but eventually he's going to kind of come down and watch this, which really is only going to give us protection if they bring their armour right up close, which is, I suppose, fine for now. I don't want to engage in any kind of long-range duels, even though I suppose I'm better equipped for it, tank on tank, but he's on his own over here, and I'm guessing he'll be, what, 3 or 4 of those? I can't remember the size of a Sherman troop. Alright, but anyway, that's, I'm getting distracted. Let's hit the red button, and let's see this glory or carnage unfold. Okay, Okay, at least that's a bit better. Direct smoke there from our Stummel. The last few bombs landing. You guys take casualty? No, you just suppressed. Right, I'm pulling them back to their vehicles as well. I don't know who's doing this. Because that's some strange positions for Americans pointing around, but I have no other planned artillery. Oh, last round out from our mortar here. Okay, we're getting a better bank now. This is making me feel a little bit happier. These guys are really inaccurate, which is a bit upsetting, and a lot of it's landed in a very close together. This is okay. Just can have a one dangerous angle there. But so far, it's okay. Do you have any rounds left? No, you fired all 4. Ah, it's a shame. I probably should have done a target briefly. I don't know if you can do a target briefly with smoke, actually. Because I really want him just to fire a couple and then move an action square over. But, yeah, can't do much about that. Okay, that was actually pretty fine and uneventful. We'll probably just stick around and run another minute because interested to see how that ends up. And I want you to get yourself over here and get back in your carrier because that's where all your ammo is. There's a few Americans have reared their heads over here. Just kind of waifs and strays. There's one chap on his own who actually, to his credit, took a pot shot and caused a casualty on our scout team here. And as you can see, he took out the MG42 gunner. Always the first ones to fall. So we're just kind of getting some other troops in position to help clear those guys out. And looks like there's some other remnants there. But nothing too much to worry about. I'm also getting my panzers to probably fairly ineffectually kind of just spray some machine gun fire in this general direction just as I get a few more troops up. It has been quite pleasing is a bit of an odd word, but it's been good to see just the volume of American casualties kind of littering the ground here. It shows we have had a pretty good impact with the initial charge, if you will, the initial attack that our heavy vehicles were doing here. So that pleasantly surprised with that. And hopefully we'll see the same thing over here when we get up and we hold this position. But you're not interested in that. You want to see what happens as I try and charge my guys across. So this is going to be the key bit. I've actually got a Panzerschreck team out in front just because I did have different timings set up. And obviously just by the virtue of the fact that there's only 2 of them, they're getting away right. They have spotted us now. We took 1 casualty. I think that's our Panzer getting involved there. Okay, this is actually looking pretty positive. And I'm tempted, the smoke's still in a good place. I'm tempted to push another company across and have 2 on this side and 1 holding the back here. And I think that's what we're going to do. Ooh. Hang on. Where did those shots come from? I thought they sounded like they came from over here. Okay, so, is that you? No, you're all dead. There may be an American. Why can you not see him if there is? This is the job I had you here for. Okay, that's pretty upsetting. Thankfully, as people, you know, I'm just going to quickly jump into done. I'm going to get you guys to face over here. I'm also going to get you to reposition, because sometimes you can find they don't. Well, he's been spotting tanks, but sometimes you find up against Bocage and for whatever reason they're not quite orientated correctly. I'm disappointed with that, but everything else has gone relatively well. And I'm going to commit to get another company over here while our smoke's still holding strong, albeit there's a pixel troop in here picking us off. But that just sounded like a rifleman. A couple of shots, 2 kills. I was expecting kind of green troopers here, if nothing else. So yeah, they've been surprisingly effective. Right, I'm going to duck away, movement orders, but we are going to come back and watch for next minute. Okay, so I've pushed another 2 Zugs, or platoons, over, and I've kept 1 back, and we'll see, we might push him over as well, but otherwise I'll have best part of 2 companies over here. If we can take care of our mystery sniper. Okay, oh no, that's the one guy. We did know about him in the field. He'd been running away, so I'm not too worried about him. Okay, here he is. Who, pray tell, are you? There's 2 of them. Ah, it is the remnants of the heavy machine gun team. I should have... Do you know what? It's funny. I was almost tempted to push the scouts into this position and didn't. And now, evidently, I should have done. Because apparently they can't see him. But if... well, if they're still in the next turn, I'll do exactly that. Okay, this smoke's still developing quite nicely. Our next wave should be charging across. Waifs and strays should hopefully get dealt with. Yeah, there we go. Have some of that. And they're running already. Right, that should be their end. Oh, that's not a good sign. Okay. You are probably about to die. So I think you just had a pop. Oh, 1 each, right. Let's see, how does American shot get on? Explodes behind. Where does your shot go? Oh, you are so far off. Okay. It's not a duel I want. I will, if I survive the next 33 seconds, which is doubtful, I think he's about to die, I will pull him out. Right, hang on. All that excitement. I lost track of the American here. Okay, he goes down. I think that's the last of them. Yeah. That was to be expected. Just didn't check the angles properly. Oh, that's a bit of a loss. That's 31 heat shells. Or 31 HE shells I'm not getting to use, which is a real kind of loss here. Nope. Apparently there's 1 guy left, which I think is just a officer with a gun. With a gun. Pistol is what I meant. Yeah, there he is. Okay. He should go relatively quickly. Kicked myself about that. Okay. This is still looking pretty good, so I think I'm going to push over with the last part of this company. So I'll have 2 full, minus some injuries, companies. This is quite a charge by these Shermans. The guys I've got hiding in the tree line. Excuse my terrible camera control. Okay, I will need to check your angles from jumping. That's fine. You haven't started healing yet, but you guys are about to pop up. Okay, good. Let's go into command phase and let's have a quick look. Have you got any kind of sight lines back here? Not really. Yes, no, just that near fields. Certainly nothing back here, which is okay, because that should hopefully protect us as well. Okay. Is there a bit of a rise there? Yeah, okay. It's blocking it off. Fine. Oh, I worked out what this was, by the way. It is our shells. It was the adjust for the 105 mission. Was what 18 to go long. So we'd ask him, we'd originally hang with this and we extended it slightly. I'm okay leaving him on it. He's still got a reasonable number of shells left and it's worthwhile. Just make sure those things are as dead can be. Right, I'm going to go give the movement orders for the last company, the last platoon, and then we'll come back for the last charge across the river. Okay, let's watch this. Well, not quite final minutes, so I don't think the latest company will get across, but pretty much everyone else will. And I'll start just shifting these guys slightly over to this side, so this platoon's going to take positions along this way. And we'll see how if we dig out these guys. I mean, ideally we'd try and get a flanking position, MG42 in here and get behind them. May not be available depending on what comes down that road. But you know what, I'm loss of the Strumel aside, very happy about how this has all ended up. Had not expected it to go this well. Right, that's Jesus. Who went oh, it was, so it's you guys going crazy with your nades. Hang on, I want to see this. Assuming it comes from over here. Yeah, nade. Well, they got the job done, but I'll give them credit for that. Okay. Smoke's starting to fade. Ooh. Ah! Aha! Perfect. Okay, so this is an abandoned gun. That makes me happy. There was, of course, at least 2 others up there. Who has eyes on you? Scout does. Okay. That's a good start. Show me 3 of these and I will be an insanely happy camper. Okay. Are you still advancing? They are, but I mean, where are you going to go? You can't, because you roll up behind this stuff, you won't be able to see. But I'm intrigued what kind of final positions they are going to take. I mean, if you get close enough and I can pick a couple off with some Panzerfausts, I'll take it. Might look to do it actually. We can maybe well, put at least 1 team in here, get eyes down the road if nothing else, and then if they do come into this field, you know, set them on a target, maybe, oh, I don't know. I mean, you really want to be 100 meters. I know they work to 200, but accuracy falls off quite badly. So maybe say 150. And if you do get very aggressive, we might be able to pick 1 or 2 off. It's pretty ambitious. Alright, so what we're going to do, I was contemplating whether we want to run 1 minute, and we'll run final minute live just to see the bulk of my forces across, and then we'll go back to putting the larger cuts in. So I'm just going to check what happened on this side. I didn't see any flashes, but then we'll come back for that final minute. Okay, there's been one other change, because I've found a bit of a sacrificial lamb. So our half-track here is essentially out of ammo. So I'm going to get him to drive around and see if we can't attract the attentions of any remaining AT guns. In fact, I don't want to do that, because if I get blown up here, I'm going to block the what do you call it, path for my tanks. Right, so I'm just going to drive along here, which should be still protected from the various Shermans for now. They could pop over the hill and ruin things, but really I want to try and get in a position where I'm drawing the fire of the AT guns, or not, which could be a nice conclusion that they are all gone. I have forgotten my HQ unit, so I shall quickly do this on camera, even though I said I was going to do it off camera. Right, just in case of I will sort stuff out when we get there. I did notice a shell, I don't know how I see it, flying in the map from these Shermans, likely at my HG team here. So I'm also going to get them to maybe shuffle off their position. Tempted to try and get one across, but I'm not going to have time for that in smoke. I was looking at, speaking of ammo and things, I have actually burned through quite a lot. He's okay. This half-track, it's only got, well, he's got about 1,000 rounds of AP 7mm. these guys have gone down from 4 to 2k, which they've still got a lot, but just have to be a little bit conscious of starting to burn through some of my reserves. But a lot of the kind of indiscriminate firing is coming to an end. Well, with the exception of this guy. He's down to 1k. He's about to run out of machine gun rounds. Anyway. Oh, don't tell me it's at... Oh, it is at this truck. If you guys can see a tank, tell the driver, don't stay there. We've seen some casualties. Ooh. You have run into... American. Is it just one guy hiding? Yeah. Oh, he's taken out two Germans? Two Germans. Or three, actually. Hang on. Here goes one. Gets back up. Here goes two. Come on, lads. And you're running. Don't run. Fight in microcosm. Can you see him? No, you can't. Throwing a grenade at the guy's running away. Did you get him? Oh. Come on, he's not moving on the ground like 5 meters away. That was a lot of shots. Right, I realised I got so sucked into that little engagement that's going terribly. I didn't watch the rest of this. Okay, so two things we're looking for is obviously these guys taking casualties as they get across, but it looks like they're going to be okay. And secondly, it's with ever that half track explodes. Which it does not appear to be, which is a good sign to start with. There's one guy left. Ouch. Oh. So the Air Force is in power. Didn't do too much, a few random casualties, but yeah, we'll have to be aware of that. Okay, good. Things over here. We should be getting more troops in position. I don't know why you can't see this guy lying in the field. I'll correct your facing next time just to make sure. Okay. Right, so we have our foothold. Minus that one guy. So the next plan is going to be trying to use the guys to help clear out this middle section. And just kind of spread out, secure a foothold. Kind of see where these guys end up. Like say, ideally put a few tripwires in place. And then if we can get confirmation that the AT guns are out of action, start using my panzers in a kind of concentrated attack on their armor. We'll see how that goes. So what I'm going to do now is I'll jump away. I'll run a couple more minutes and then we'll come back for a final state of affairs. Probably try and get it down to at least the kind of 1:45 mark. So if something momentous happens before then, I'll come back and let you guys know. Okay, we're on our way to the 45-minute mark. I just want to come back and cover a somewhat, I'm going to call it, unfortunate series of events. Before we get to that, just update on our brave American. He lasted... It was another minute and a half. Didn't manage to take anyone else out though and finally succumb. Which reminds me, I need to clear that target order. Oh, I'm in a playback. Derp. Yeah, so tail end of last minute, a Sherman round whizzing over in this direction hit a tree, which, yeah, you can see if we zoom in there, and killed, I think it was the commander, or that he may have died already. No, yeah, killed our commander. And inflicted some casualties and suppressions on these guys as well, which is actually really troublesome because that's both commanders on the side dead, so no mortar calls. Then what happened is, I know some shots over here actually inflicted 2 casualties, which is, I mean, it's it took me ages to work out what was going on, because it's Americans behind this hedgerow, and I've spotted it through these trees, at this distance. Spotted it, engaged it with effective fire, which is, yeah, frustrating to say the least. Then, second Sherman shell hits this tree and kills another 4 pixel trooping. Wipes out the rest of that command squad, and it's just, that's insane. Like, a direct structure wouldn't do it. It's just, won't shell underneath trees and storms. I mean, to make my worse, he is obviously now scared by the machine gun fire. Decides his best bet is to drive up the hill, which promptly exposes even more to that Sherman, and he gets completely annihilated. One less more carry. Now he's taking machine gun fire. It's okay. I think you're taking Sherman fire. Right, I'll have to pull out of position. You see, I've got my Panzer Strike teams, or Panzer Jaeger teams, where you call them, in position, but that's a pretty small range, 130 meters, I think, of them. So not going to do much unless he gets incredibly aggressive with his Shermans, and otherwise I'm just going to have to play dodge the tank. So, yeah. Right, I'm going to stick you in this forest for just now. Should be behind the hill a little bit. Okay, just get out of harm's way. So, I think the next plan is going to be, because we're kind of finished phase 1, right? We've got over here, we've got 2 company strength, more or less, in on each side. We've kind of held those positions, we've cleared the Americans out of a good chunk of the kind of objective zones. There's a few remnants, but we are kind of dealing with those. The next my plan is going to be dealing with this center, and also dealing with these tanks. So dealing with the center, essentially, the next thought had been is to use the 105s, drop a whole bunch of smoke to give these 2 companies to move these guys up into position along this hedgerow, and start to, wear down the American positions here, because these positions directly across the river are sheltered from the Shermans, or at least they are at the minute. They might actually move in position where they can get some shots away. So that would allow us to hopefully speed of firepower, engage those guys, and eradicate this foothold and allow us to go across. And then the second plan is bring in our half track. So I've deviated slightly, he didn't attract any fire, bring him into here, just because that's eyes on the hill, but protect from Shermans. So if he's going to get taken out, I want it to be by an AT gun, so it proves their existence. Depending on how that goes, and I'm hopeful it goes well and we see nothing happen, then we feel a bit bolder about bringing our panzers into play, and even maybe try and get one of them or 2 of them across this shallow ford and take up some positions over, some positions over here, which is a fairly terrifying prospect. But we've got the opportunity now, because you can get up to the ford and nothing's going to see you, provided you can get there. This stretch of road is probably the danger bit from those AT positions, and then once you kind of get down here, you're okay from the Shermans, and then that allows us to get into some defensive positions if they try and push further, and if not, means we have a bit more room to maneuver over here and can bring some heavier firepower in against these American positions. So that's current thought, that's current play. All in all, I think it's going okay. I'm slightly worried about infantry casualties. They are starting to mount, and yeah, having lost essentially about a squad's worth strength in the last couple of minutes over on this side is not ideal, and will impact my ability to push on further. I also need to find some better positions to take on these Shermans. I'm not too worried about them. I think if I can get my tanks together in a sensible position, we should be okay. I just would be worried if they just start picking me off, and we can see they are inflicting a little bit of damage here and there. That's that. So, but we're gonna call this one to a close here. I think that's been a really positive
advancement. You know, I'm really happy. We've achieved our objectives. Next ones are going to be tricky, but I'm really happy the way the smoke screen worked over here, and I think we could do something similar in the center. The other option, of course, if our friend here gets blown up, is to just drop a whole bunch of smoke kind of around this area and use that to cover our panzers getting position. The issue being, we know there's a threat here when the smoke wears off, and we'll have to think about how we deal with that. But that is option B, essentially. And that'll depend what happens with our little friendly half-track in the next few minutes. The other thing, and I'm wittering on a little bit, I wanted to drop mortars in along this line. I was going to use what was left of the two teams, but it's now down to one team, so it's a grand total of... Actually, it's not too bad now. It's still... is that like 60 odd HE shells? And so to need that, I'm going to sneak this HQ across. This one? No, this one. This is HQ. So the scouting HQ, come over here. Should give them line of sight to call some mortars down along this line, just to help out with that. And that's where we end it. As ever, I hope you have enjoyed it, and I know some of you are playing the scenario yourself, so always interested to hear how you're getting on. And yeah, if you think there's any holes or improvements can make my strategy, also let me know. I always enjoy the chat. But take it easy, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Cheerio.